Ferrari left Canada with a result that should have felt like relief, but Lewis Hamilton's podium made the story more dangerous. He did not look lost anymore. He looked settled, sharp, and finally connected to the SF26. He finished second, fought Max Verstappen, and gave Maranello its clearest sign yet that this project may finally be turning. But behind that result sat a problem Ferrari cannot cover with celebration. Hamilton looked ready to attack, while the car still showed weakness when the race demanded raw speed. Canada gave Ferrari hope, but Mercedes still took the biggest prize. Kimi Antonelli won, Hamilton came home second, Verstappen finished third, and George Russell's retirement stopped Mercedes from making the result even worse for everyone else. Ferrari gained points, belief, and proof that Hamilton's adaptation is real. But the SF26 still looked exposed on corner exit, on the straights, and in moments where one clean burst of power decides everything. Now Ferrari faces a colder question. What if Hamilton is unlocking this car before Ferrari has fixed the part that matters most? Charles Leclerc's side of the garage did not carry the same calm. Mercedes still controls the wider fight, and Verstappen still made Ferrari earn every inch. Canada was not a clean breakthrough. It was a warning hidden inside the result Ferrari badly needed. To understand why, the real story starts with what Canada actually revealed. Kimi Antonelli did not just win Canada, he changed the pressure around Ferrari's whole weekend. Before the flag, Hamilton's drive looked like the headline. A red car fighting near the front, a Ferrari crowd gutting something real, and a 7-time champion looking settled in the SF26. But the result sharpened everything. Mercedes still won, Antonelli still took the biggest prize. And Ferrari's best Grand Prix finish, with Hamilton still carried one uncomfortable truth. Hamilton finished second, Verstappen finished third, Leclerc came home fourth, and Russell's power unit issue stopped Mercedes from making the weekend even colder. On paper, Ferrari had reason to breathe. In reality, Mercedes still left Montreal with control of the season because Antonelli moved 43 points clear at the top of the drivers' standings. That gap changes how Ferrari has to read this podium. That is why Canada matters. Hamilton made Ferrari believe again, but Antonelli reminded everyone who still owns the championship picture. Verstappen stayed close enough to keep Red Bull dangerous, Leclerc protected Ferrari from a bad day, and Russell's retirement only softened the damage. Ferrari did not walk away exposed in the obvious way. They walked away with a strong result, while the bigger scoreboard told a harder story. Montreal is cruel to any car trying to hide a power weakness, and Ferrari found that out in public. The circuit Gilles Villeneuve does not give teams many places to fake strength. You brake hard, fire the car out of slow corners, drag it down fast straights, then do it again. That rhythm exposes everything. If the power unit is late, the driver feels it. If the exit speed is weak, the rival behind smells it. Canada is not only about one fast straight. It is a repeated test of braking, traction, energy delivery, and confidence under pressure. At turn 10, cars can drop from 292 kilometers per hour to 69 in under 3 seconds. With the current power unit rules putting more weight on electrical energy, deployment is not a small detail anymore. It decides whether the car attacks or waits. That is why Hamilton's second place cannot be judged as a simple Ferrari revival. He had balance, control, and enough trust to keep Verstappen under pressure. But every time the race asked the SF26 for one clean burst of speed, the same question came back. Was Hamilton driving around the weakness, or was Ferrari beginning to solve it? Montreal exposed the part of the car that will decide the season. Hamilton's Canada drive mattered because it was not built on blind aggression. Earlier in the race, Verstappen showed Ferrari where the danger was. He took the position at turn 1, used the Red Bull well, and forced Hamilton into a race that needed patience. Hamilton did not chase every half chance. He protected the tires, measured the exits, and kept the Ferrari close enough to strike when the window opened. The late pass was not luck. Hamilton used deployment into turn 1, picked the timing, and attacked when Verstappen no longer had full control of the fight. Red Bull's straight-line speed had looked strong enough to hold him back earlier, which made the move more revealing. Ferrari still had a weakness, but Hamilton found the small place where the car could bite back. That is why this podium felt different. Hamilton made the SF26 look useful in traffic, useful under pressure, and useful against a driver who rarely gives anything away. But the same race also proved Ferrari cannot live on driver craft every weekend. If Hamilton needs that level of precision just to turn pace into position, the car still has work to do. Canada showed Ferrari a driver beginning to understand the machine. Charles Leclerc finishing 4th should have made Ferrari's Canada result look clean, but it made the picture more awkward. One red car looked alive in Hamilton's hands. The other reached the finish with points, but not the same conviction. Ferrari cannot build a title fight on one confident side of the garage while the other is still searching for feeling. Leclerc did not need a disaster result for the warning to appear. Leclerc's issue was not simple pace, it was trust. Reports from Canada pointed to tire temperature problems, weak grip, and a lack of feeling through the weekend. That is a nasty mix at Montreal because once the tires leave the right window, braking confidence fades and corner exits become harder to judge. Meanwhile, Hamilton's side had the opposite energy. He found rhythm, took second, and gave Ferrari a working reference. That is where the story gets complicated. Ferrari now has two forms of feedback from the same car. Hamilton can show where the SF26 is beginning to work. Leclerc can show where it still refuses to give confidence, both matter. But development choices are direction, not comfort. If Ferrari leans toward Hamilton, Leclerc needs answers fast. If Ferrari protects Leclerc's feeling, Hamilton's new momentum cannot be slowed. Mercedes is why Ferrari cannot celebrate Canada like a full turning point. Hamilton's second place gave Maranello belief, but Antonelli's win kept the championship in silver hands. That is the cold part of the result. Ferrari found momentum and still lost the biggest prize to the team it has to catch. Antonelli did not need a perfect calm weekend to look dangerous. He survived the chaos and made Hamilton's best Ferrari result feel like only the start of a hard chase. The standings make the problem brutal. Antonelli sits on 131 points, Russell has 88, Leclerc has 75, and Hamilton has 72. Mercedes has 219 points in the team standings, while Ferrari has 147. That is a 72-point wall before Ferrari has fully answered questions around power delivery, tire confidence, and setup direction. Toto Wolff has the problem every team principal wants, two fast drivers fighting near the front while everyone else chases. Ferrari has a harder problem. Hamilton is rising, Leclerc needs trust, and the SF26 still has to prove it can challenge Mercedes without needing the race to break open. Canada cannot be judged by the podium alone. Ferrari is not chasing one rival anymore. It is chasing a system. McLaren's Canada collapse gave Ferrari breathing space, but it also hit a threat Ferrari cannot ignore. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri did not leave Montreal pointless because the car suddenly had no pace. Their race was damaged by a tire call that fell apart when the track moved away from the expected conditions. Both McLarens started on intermediates, the surface dried, and the advantage disappeared before the race settled. Norris retired with a gearbox issue, Piastri finished outside the points after a penalty, and Andrea Stella was left defending a gamble that missed its moment. That is the warning. McLaren did not lose Canada through pure lack of speed. They lost it through timing, execution, and conditions turning against them. Ferrari gained points, but it did not prove McLaren is gone. It proved McLaren can still hurt itself. Then there is Verstappen. Red Bull did not control the race and the RB22 did not look like the most complete car. Yet Verstappen still finished third and forced Hamilton to earn the position late. That is why Ferrari cannot read Canada as a clean escape. Mercedes has the scoreboard, McLaren still has speed behind cleaner execution, and Verstappen remains close enough to punish one mistake. Monaco now becomes Ferrari's cleanest trial because the excuses from Canada lose power on those streets. Montreal punished the SF26 every time the car needed a hard launch onto a straight. Monaco asked something different. Can the car turn, stop, rotate, and stay calm near the walls? That should suit Hamilton's new confidence. It should also give Ferrari a weekend where raw power matters less than rhythm, braking trust, and nerve. But Ferrari cannot enter Monaco thinking Hamilton's podium solved everything. Leclerc still needs the SF26 to speak his language, and that matters more there than almost anywhere else. He knows Monaco, he knows the pressure, and he knows how quickly one uncomfortable setup can ruin a weekend. Mercedes arrives with the points cushion, Verstappen arrives ready to punish mistakes, and McLaren arrives wounded but not finished. Canada did not prove Ferrari is back, it proved something sharper. Hamilton is ready to fight before Ferrari has fully earned trust in the car underneath him. That is exciting but dangerous. If Monaco rewards his rhythm, the whole Ferrari story changes overnight. If the SF26 still leaves questions, Canada becomes the warning everyone should have heard. Ferrari did not leave Montreal with peace. They left with proof that Hamilton is ready, and now the car has nowhere left to hide.